Today's module is entitled Habits of Long-Term Happy Couples and Marriages. You know, relationships are a lot like my twisted sense of humor. They can be a wild ride. So let's talk about something a bit more relatable than spandex and swords, shall we? Relationships. Now, I know what you're thinking. You've probably picked up a thing or two about relationships from dear old mom and dad. Maybe some good ones, maybe not so good ones. It's like inheriting your parents' love legacy. But hey, being in a long-term relationship or marriage, that's a skill, my friends. First things first, romance. It's that warm, fuzzy feeling that makes your heart race faster than a chimichanga. Some folks think that romance should just happen naturally, like mutant powers. But trust me, waiting for your partner to magically turn into a romance superhero isn't gonna cut it. Man, listen up. We're not all smooth-talking, chivalrous knights in shining armor. But guess what? We can develop the habit of being spontaneous and romantic. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a romantic superhero. Practice makes perfect, folks. Now here's where it gets juicy. Expectations, my favorite subject. Some people expect their partner to be a mind reader, to think and act just like them. Newsflash, that's a recipe for disaster. You can't expect your lover to be a clone of yourself, unless you're into some serious sci-fi stuff. So the government, in all its bureaucratic wisdom, decided to spend a portion of your hard-earned tax dollars on researching what makes couples tick. BuzzFeed.com published a study that found that a whopping 50% of marriages hit the skids and ends up in divorce. Yet 17% of couples are happy, and the rest fall somewhere in between. But here's the good news, amigos. There are things that you can do to tilt the odds in your favor. You can increase your chances of having a marriage that's happier than a unicorn riding a rainbow. Now let's get down to business. Most marriages these days don't end up riding off into the sunset together. They crash and burn like a superhero landing gone wrong. But fear not. There's hope on the horizon. I got a few pearls of wisdom to share with you. We're going to break this down into 3 easy-to-swallow pills. Before you get married, during the marriage, and how to respark the romance. We even threw in a checklist and action plans to help you turn these principles into habits. Remember, just like starting a business, relationships need some groundwork too. So whether you're donning a spandex suit or tuxedo, remember this: love is a battlefield, and it's okay to seek some guidance to keep the flames of passion burning. So go ahead, invest into your relationship. It might not come with guarantees, but trust me, it's worth every chimichanga that you can spare. Relationships, much like life, are a wild ride, unpredictable ride. So hold on tight, and let's dive into this wonderful world of love. Now, some of the data that we're going to dive into might be a little factual, so for some of you it might seem a little bit boring. However, it is very important for us to understand what it is that's going to make our lives happier in our marriage, both before, during, and then how to respark the love and romance in our marriage. So let's dive into this. Before marriage. Now, number one, today people are getting married later in life. The average age of those married for the first time is currently 28 years for men and 25 for women, according to the National Health Statistics Report of 2012. Compare this to the numbers from 1960, when the median age was 23 for men and 20 for women. Now, number two, couples who live together before marriage have a 46% greater risk of divorce than couples who do not live together before marriage. Now, this was according to Marriage and the Family in the United States, Resources of Society. Now, those who live together prior to commitment to marriage are especially at risk if they decide to eventually marry. See Dr. Scott Stanley, Sliding versus Deciding blog. Now, number three, pregnancy and childbearing prior to marriage significantly increases the likelihood of future divorce. In America, as of the time of this report, more than 1/3 or 37% of children are born to parents who are not married, and few of these parents eventually married. Most of these parents will separate before the child even begins school, and some will never marry at all. Number 4, parents of divorce. Of course, some risk factors for divorce are not in our control. If you experience the divorce of your parents, unfortunately, that doubles your risk for divorce. And if your spouse also experienced his or her parents' divorce, then your risk for divorce is more than triples. Now, this is scary, but it doesn't doom your marriage to failure. It does suggest that certain individuals who experienced a divorce of their parents need to work even harder to make good marriage choices and to keep their marriage strong and happy. Number 5, alcoholic parents create narcissistic children in adulthood. Nearly 60% of all marriages to narcissists, male or female, end in divorce. Number 6, research shows that if you get married after 27, you have a 57% chance you will stay married. However, studies have shown that couples with the age gap of 10 years plus tend to be happier. Number 7, few sexual partners before marriage results in happier marriages for both men and women. Sex before marriages increases your odds of divorce. However, women who have multiple sexual partners have an increased odds of divorce because of the impact it has on the brain chemicals that impact the connections that they feel to their husbands. So if you're watching this video or on our blog, you can see some graphs of this. This is some studies from the organization, the Institute for Family Studies. So with just one sexual partner, about 65 to about 73% of couples rank themselves as very happy in their marriage. However, as you can see, but after just 2 sexual partners in total, then there's a dramatic drop. But especially I want you to notice, again, if you're watching this video on our blog or maybe even the workbook, shows 6 to 10 partners has a huge dramatic drop. And again, this graph shows the relationship between your sexual history and marital satisfaction. Scroll down to the next study, and this is your odds of divorce over a 5-year period based on your previous sexual partners. So if you started off with 0 sexual partners, you have somewhere in the range of about a 5 to 10%, depending on some circumstances, of an odds of divorce in 10 years. However, after, let's just say after 10 partners, you have basically about an 18 to almost 35%, depending on some variations. Number 8, income as a couple. So incomes increase, divorce rates tend to decrease, but only to a certain point. Once a couple has a household income of around $200,000, divorce rates remain steady at around 30%. The rate of divorce does not decline again until the household income reaches $600,000, at which point it drops closer to 25%. However, once the income exceeds $600,000, the rate of divorce once again begins to steadily climb back up to 30%. This suggests that increasing in income can reduce the risk of divorce, but once income climbs too high, a different set of complications can threaten the stability of the marriage. Number 9, international dating. I've seen some studies that shows that finding a wife through international dating has a 50% lower chance of divorce than the average American couple. The average marriage in America lasts about 7 years. Compare that with Italy, that has a marriage that lasting 18 years. Now, if the couple stays in the country of the woman's origin, this increases the chances that the couple will stay married because America has a culture of divorce. Now, as you can see, there's things that you can do to increase your chances that you will not get a divorce. However, just because you don't get a divorce does not mean you will be happy. Now, if you're watching this video on our blog or maybe in one of the workbooks that we have available for you, divorce lawyer James Sexton tells us in the following videos with Lewis Howes that couples could benefit from having a consultation with a divorce attorney before marriage. This is due to make them aware of what they're getting themselves into and consider things that they're probably not thought about as of yet, such as what are her values, what are your values, and so on and so forth. During the marriage, okay, so you possibly made some mistakes in your marriage that you were not aware of. So now that you're in the marriage, what can you do about it to increase your happiness? Now, research shows that only about 17% of married couples are happy, which is a significant drop from what it was in 1960. Jenna McCarthy did some research to find out that only about 17% of couples are considered what they call as happy. So what we want to do is we want to look at what those 17% have in common with each other. Now, number one, the happiest couples do not point out each other's failures to the other mate. Number two, men are willing to do housework. However, another study published shows that men who do typically women household chores, this can make men seem less attractive to the wife. Number three, tell each other I love you 5 times a week. Number four, kiss each other 6 times a day. Marriage researcher John Gottman recommends a 6-second kiss every day. Number 5, Dr. Paul Zak suggests hugging 8 times a day. Number 6, watching romantic comedies cause dissatisfaction in the marriage. Number 7, the happiest marriages are when the wife weighs 25 pounds less than her husband. Number 8, research published in Social, Psychological, and Personal Science shows the happiest marriages have sex with each other once a week. Number 9, research shows that for every $5,000 that a wife out-earns her husband, the chance of divorcing you increases by 5%. Number 10, Dr. Jordan Peterson said that the happiest marriages spend about 90 minutes a week talking about their problems and other important family issues. Divorce-proof your marriage. The Gottman Institute has studied married couples for over 30 years and has been able to pinpoint with 94% accuracy of whether the couple will stay married by the couple's fighting style, such as do you fight fair or do you consider yourself superior to your mate. Check out the Gottman Institute for this 8-point checkoff list. Now, after interviewing 10,000 couples in 110 countries around the world, documented in her best-selling book, Happy Wives Club, there are 6 practices that happy couples have in common. Now, number 1 is put marriage before children. Now, this is controversial, but it's a common denominator among these couples. If you put your children before your mate will begin to resent you, and thus the marriage breaks down. However, if you put your children in the proper place, the whole family is happier. If the bond is solid, sex will follow. The book Happy Wives Club suggests that if the couple takes care of the relationship, this part of the marriage takes care of itself. Divorce lawyer James Sexton said in dealing with his clients that sex is the glue that keeps couples together. Once couples stop having sex, the relationship starts to fall apart. Number 3, spirituality can be a stabilizer. While the couples may have not all agreed on who or what they believed God to be, all believed in a higher power. They had a healthy fear of disappointing that higher power in relation to their spouses. There's also a report in the 2001 Journal of Family Psychology found that in 120 couples, celebrating religious holidays together helped cement and reestablish their beliefs, and over the years, it further bonded their marriages together. Number 4, rituals enhance romance. From coffee together in the morning to a cocktail every night before dinner. Each of the couples interviewed kept a ritual for decades. This is something that was just for the two of them, that they maintained it every day. Number 5, divorce is not an option. There was no plan B. Each couple decided at the outset of their marriage that they would subtract divorce from the equation. This led to much greater level of patience with each other. Number 6, respect. The number 1 answer to a happy marriage is mutual respect. Respark the romance. Number 1, more than 8 in 10, 83% of those who travel as a couple say The romance is alive in their relationship. Fully 7 in 10, or 72% of couples surveyed, believe traveling inspires romance. 2. Nearly 2 in 3 couples, 65%, say that being romantic is an important reason to travel with their partner. Number 3. Just over 3/4, or 77% of respondents who travel as a couple say that they have a good sex life, compared to 63% of couples who do not travel together. Number 4. More than 1 in every 4 couples, 28%, say that their sex life has improved after traveling together. And of those, 40% say sex together is permanently better after travel. Number 5. A strong majority, 59% of couples participating in the survey, say that being intimate is an important reason to vacation together. Number 6. Among couples that did not take a trip together in the past year, nearly 1 in 4, 23%, say they do not have enough time for intimacy. In an effort to re-spark the romance in your marriage, I want to invite you to start with what we call as our endless honeymoon package. Travel can be affordable and rewarding on many levels. You won't regret it. You can do so by clicking on the banner that you see below, or by visiting endlesshoneymoon.alphalifestyleacademy.com.